Hey, Brad Clark here from Rigging Dojo. I'm going to go through a potential workflow, basically an example of a basic motion capture edit, trying to use Blender, and mainly just to document some of the issues and things that I'm hitting. And hopefully people will see how I'm doing this and say, oh, you need to just check this box or approach it differently. And if not, hopefully they'll see a potential to improve the current set of tools and workflow. So I'm not going to compare this back to Motion Builder or Maya, or I'm going to try not to very often, but I'm going to point out core features of some of the tools and the way I expect to be able to manipulate this stuff so that I can actually get a basic edit done. So a common motion capture requirement is I need to get two clips blended together. And depending on where they come from and the sources, that's not always easy. So the first part is just being able to get my data into Blender. So I'm going to go ahead and import an FBX. I've got some animations, and this is from the TC Sword Pack from Modus, and we've linked to this on Rigging Dojo before. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the walk and run. So we'll go ahead and do, and then there's some in place and some that are not. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the run regular, and I'm going to leave the default settings. I'm not going to do anything else with the orientation. I'm just going to bring it in. And so you get the funny bones, but it doesn't matter because this has already been edited. So I just am basically trying to take two finished pieces of animation and get them together. So I've loaded that clip in, and the next part is I need the second action. And so I don't know how to do this other than import the next file. So I've got to go grab my walk, import. Okay, so now I have two actions that I want to blend together, and the way I know how to do this is go ahead and convert this stuff over to a clip, right? So I go to the nonlinear editor, and I've got two actions or two animations that need to be converted to actions, and in that way I can then share them between the two systems. So I'm going to go ahead and click this to convert this to a clip and do the same here. So now I have the two separate armatures and two separate tracks. I'm going to come up here to my first armature, and what I want is I want this to be I need another action that has this run and walk on the same thing. So I'm going to start with the run and decelerate to a walk. So I'm going to go ahead and say add a, let's see, on this track, maybe. There should be an action strip. Okay. Right, I need to go create another action, and I don't think I can do it from here that I know of. Let's see, edits, start tweaking actions, swap strips. Okay, so I need to jump over and to the dope sheet, and if I grab one of these guys and switch from the dope sheet to the action editor, okay, so I want the walk. So now I want to create a new action, or maybe I can just link it directly. So let's see. This character needs the the run needs the walk. So that's the run. So actually I need to pick the walk. Okay, so here I can switch my current active armature. I can switch between the actions, which is cool. So now I can see, like here's on this armature, here's the run, and here's the walk. So I'm going to pick the walk, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new action for this character, and then I should be able to go back to NLA, and now I have the walk action stored here. I guess I stashed it. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure how that process works, so I'm just going to delete that, I think. And so now I should have the walk and run together. So now I have the walk and run, and I can go ahead and delete my other armature. Yeah, so I don't need that armature or mesh. Okay. So now I've got the two actions, and I need to actually be able to offset this location, right? So right now it jumps back in place, and so I tried going to the top of the armature, and in object mode, I'm going to go to the end of the run, and I don't know how to snap. I don't know how to snap the next clip to this place, so I'm going to go ahead and hide the mesh, turn off the mesh, and then go ahead and snap to vertex and turn on snapping and snap the 3D cursor to that location. Now in this clip I'm going to hit tab, maybe tab to go into edit mode for this clip, and then I'm going to right click and say snap selection to cursor for this clip, and then insert a keyframe location. Okay, so now I have the location for the object of the armature stored within this clip, and I'll tab back out of that. And then I'll show my mesh again so I can see what's going on, turn off snap. And now if I go ahead and want to blend this, right, I can lift this up, and I can go in and tell the blend frame, I can blend in. Although I am noticing that the display doesn't show up. The blend is really hard to see color-wise when it's active, so I probably just need to change that color, but it's hard to tell where the blend is. But here we've got now and my timeline isn't set, so if I grab this, is there a way somewhere, hopefully? View, I don't know if there's a way to frame up the start and end of the animation to the selected clip length, but that would be something that would be pretty handy. I do that quite often. So if I switch to, or add a timeline, I guess, go ahead and add my timeline back. And my end here is going to be 55. So if there's a faster way to set start and end to the length of the clip, that's great. The other thing I want to do is I want to move these two clips together, so I know I can select both of them, but then if I hold G down I can move them, which is cool. What I was hoping for was the ability to kind of connect or link these, and that's I found the add meta strips. So if I add a meta strip, that doesn't seem to work across tracks. So I found that a little frustrating, that it only works on a single track. The meta system doesn't work within a cross blended faded system. I also can't blend on a single track, so even though if I drop this one down, I can't find a way to have the crossfade just happen on a single track without having a second track to influence it. And maybe there's a setting on the clip or something that can allow that. Because then if you have a meta node, remove meta strips. If you create a meta strip here, add Control G. If I select these two and Control G to create a meta strip, now it works, but you can't see what's in here. And I don't know how to open up, I can't tab in and out of this meta strip. So the idea to group the clips is handy, but I can't group across tracks, and I also don't see a way to leave this grouping intact to edit down into it. I seem to always have to remove the meta strip. So I don't, like this temp meta that creates when I'm moving stuff is fine, but it would be nice to be able to kind of group this stuff together. Okay, so that's the basic part of this. So now I need to move this back, and I've got my blend. And so now I've done a basic edit. So now my next need, of course, is this character's running down this direction, and I need it to go this other way, or 45, right? So if I go back to regular, just edit mode, right? I'm at the object mode still. I'm not in pose, and I rotate my character around Z to run 45. That's fine, but it doesn't. It edits only the first action, not the second. And so I don't seem to be able to manipulate both transforms in a way that without having to re-snap, right? So in this case, I'd need to mute that, come here, vertex snap the 3D cursor somewhere here, but it's really hard when there's a foot in the way. Snap to the bone, close enough. Okay, yeah, it still isn't, so I gotta hide my mesh. And again, if there's a better way to do this, I'd love to know. Okay, turn my mesh back on, and now I need to snap align the character to this new angle. So I need to turn this on, hit tab, go back to my start frame, and then say snap to cursor. But that doesn't work now for some reason. So, and that's, because it's blending. So you can see right here that the pivot point is blending across this time. So it ends up still being at 0 when I try to snap it from the start. So then I think I have to turn blend off. And now I can have the pivot at the correct location. Even though this is muted, the blend is still crossfading. So now if I say snap to cursor, I don't know if that oriented it, to be honest. It looks like it just moved it. So now if I turn this back on, yeah, it moved it, but it didn't quite orient it correctly. So let me say snap to cursor again, insert keyframe, available, and tab out of this and unmute the track here. Now I need to set my blend back up. So you can see this still isn't quite working. So if I turn this off again and I come back here, if I say snap cursor to selected, it jumps back to this armature starting point instead of the location. So maybe if I Control Tab into pose and select just this bone, and then I say, but now I can't snap to that bone. I don't see a way to snap or align to this bone. So select, yeah, I don't have a way to see if there's maybe a way over here. The view. Yeah, okay. So convert to actions. Yeah, I don't see a way to easily align the 3D cursor to this location. Having the blend enabled makes this difficult to do anything that's an off-axis edit. I can't seem to reorient the animation clip without doing a lot of jumping around. So let me come back real quick. So the other idea would be, of course, that I've rotated the animation from, oh, and I think I'm out of undos. Yeah, okay. Well, the other idea, of course, would just be orient this clip. I'd have to turn blending off again and reorient the animation to the same rotation from here so that they realigned. But again, this is a lot of work to be able to try to connect these two back together. So let me go ahead and just set the rotation back for this thing. Rotation. Oops. I really wish backspace would work on just the selected, but okay. So now this is back to normal and everything's good. Okay, so now we've got the blend, and go ahead and grab my armature again. Okay, so we've got our clips and I've got my blend. So now the next part that I would like to do, since I can't edit these two separate, maybe I need to cook them down and then I'll edit it, right? So my next option was, or my next idea is, I need to bake these down, and then I'll make a new clip, and then I'll edit the orientation of the whole clip together. So the only way I could find to do that was to go through and switch back over to pose mode. And under pose mode, go to pose, animation, bake action. And in the bake action settings, I turned off only selected bones, and I thought maybe visual keying would help, but the problem is now between the pose and the object. So the keyframe that exists here to snap my character to this location for the offset, so the offset key is an object keyframe, while the rest of the animation is a pose / armature pose mode setting. So if I go ahead and say bake to data, bake action, start frame, okay, I bake action. Now there's a new action right here that is not a clip yet. So now if I turn these off, it jumps because the transformation, it only baked the two and combined the two actions that were the keyframes for the pose. I thought, okay, fine. Now, if I go ahead and go back and turn this, well, I can't mute this action because it's not a clip. So, but it's okay, it seems to be fine. It mixes down correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and come back here, and I'm going to go back to pose. And then I go to animation, bake action, and I pick object. And then if I turn these off, now it has replaced the action. Instead of adding to it, it's replaced it with the object. So now you can see the transform. So in this case, I converted it to an action. I turn these back on. I baked my animation again, but in pose, and bake that to an action. So I guess I could maybe copy and paste the keyframes. So let me actually try that. So if I go to this action and hit Tab, and I select all the keyframes, and I say keying, let's see, copy, and I tab out of this action, and I come up here and I make this action, tab, and in object mode, I paste. No, okay. Well, let's go back one more. Maybe I need to not be in pose mode. Okay, object mode, select all, copy the animation, and then this action shouldn't have anything, so now I should be able to say paste. And it still is shooting off into space. Okay, well, so that's not working quite how I'd expect. Clearly, I'm not sure the best way to combine that. So now I have my action again, and these two are combined, but I can't meta group them. I can't have them on the same track. I can though offset the overall orientation. Let me mute these. But I have to do it on this, oh, sorry. One more, undo. Okay, let me mute these. So these two combined should be, wow. Okay, these two are the two actions now combining together. So this action is the function of the pose animation, and this is the object. So for this action, I should be able to reorient. Tab, reorient. So see, that's the other, I don't have a good way without re-keyframing this whole thing. Let's see, maybe if I here insert rotation. No, it's still jumping. So I'm not sure. So that's where I'm stuck. I don't know how to, once I can bake it, they're still separated by keyframes. I can't easily combine the object and pose keyframes into a single clip. It doesn't seem like. I can't reorient this as a whole clip that I've connected. And then, of course, now that I have all that done for this armature, you know, I want to take this single action and maybe move it, place it somewhere else, and now can I not move it past the end? Oh no, okay, weird. It just wasn't updating. So then once I cook that down, it should be adjustable and movable, but I also don't have any way to organize a lot of tracks here either. So you know, this gets unwieldy pretty quickly. I can't, there is a way to have it show or hide, I think, filtering, only selected. But that isn't quite, maybe I can create collections. of the NLA tracks. I haven't tried that yet. New collection. Anyway, just being able to organize the tracks visually over here, in addition to just understanding how best to try to manipulate these clips together would be pretty awesome. So hopefully that helps show you kind of what I'm trying to do, and maybe someone can show me where I'm messing up or get some better understanding of how to use the basic tools for alignment and snapping between things. And yeah, hopefully that helps you understand what I'm trying to do, and it'll get me closer to my answer.